Apple TV, where Foundation premiered. About two weeks ago now, I think. Three.
Yep, 2 weeks ago. There's now 3 episodes out, premiered with 2. Now then it'll go week to week, like everything else on Apple TV Plus.
Yeah, and Foundation wasn't really something I was too tuned into. I think maybe I saw a preview the week before it came out when I was watching Ted Lasso, and I was intrigued because I mean it's sci-fi. Looks like high level, expensive sci-fi. So when you mentioned you wanted to watch this one, I was like, yeah, this sounds pretty good. Created by David Goyer and Josh Friedman. Not that that really means anything to us, but uh,
I mean,
Dave,
put some respect on David Goyer's name. He's,
sure.
Batman Begins, Dark Knight. He's a industry veteran with some good credits.
Yeah, but not really for like this genre, I guess, when I think about it. But
Sure.
maybe.
I mean, making sci-fi for television, few people are experienced in it, especially
Good point.
this scale. So,
Good point. Dave, were you one looking forward to Foundation? Was this something that was on your radar? And two, did you feel like the premiere, which we're only talking about the first episode today, did you feel like the premiere hooked you, like brought you in?
so I was not checking for this one. This is based off the series of Isaac Asimov novels, very well regarded. I think they post-war novels. He add to them over the decades. So it's quite the long-running series, and the latest entry in the desire to create the next Game of Thrones. Right? We know that everyone has been buying up the sci-fi IPs, the big stories, the big franchises. Right? Amazon will be giving us Wheel of Time in November. HBO's already tried this, I guess, in another sense with his Dark Materials, which is
Oh gosh,
up and down, and of course Peacock with Brave New World, which I think is an important corollary to Foundation, because both books were considered unfilmable due to their grand themes that don't necessarily lend themselves to the most cinematic storytelling. You know, so we've been thinking about this for a while, right? And I wasn't specifically checking for Foundation, but the idea of Apple does a sci-fi show and they try and get a lot of people to watch it. Like, okay, yeah, well, I understand this. And I was really impressed with the pilot for Foundation, having not read the book. And I think it's really just because the production values are crazy, man. They spent, like $200 million on this show. And it shows. It looks incredible.
Yeah, it does look
and good. I don't have any connection to the books. I know they've changed the books a lot to make it more cinematic, more palatable to film in terms of creating conflict, gender flipping characters, inserting emotion. Apparently the books are quite dry. I don't really care about the changes. And, I still really don't know where this is going to go because it's quite the data dump in the pilot. But for me, it's just like the scale of the world building grabbed me through one episode. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing whether it succeeds through one season.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think what I was most taken by was definitely the like just the high level production in terms of the CGI. The worlds, the landscapes. What was that space station called?
With the land bridge elevator going down. Yeah, really cool. And that planet very reminiscent of Coruscant from Star Wars to me as well.
Exactly.
Big city, all that.
Yeah, and especially near the end, where I guess if you haven't watched, but you were tuning in, like spoiler, skip ahead for like a couple seconds when there's a terrorist attack and they show things blowing up and like the response in the worlds, it really felt like it was really like convincing and just like wow, that was like amazingly done. I think what I had a hard time kind of following was I felt like the conflict was very like high level type shit. It's like there's this theory, this psychohistory theory that Jared Harris's character is now being like wrongly imprisoned for.
Yes, and he's a mathematician and his like grand algorithm predicting the demise of society. Be broad.
And the main character there, Gal Dornick, played by Lou Lobel, is also arrested to, say that his theory is wrong because it will cause an uprising if people really believe in it or something like that. And then,
Yeah,
she doesn't.
destabilize society.
Which I think I followed that pretty well, but at the same time, it felt like I was like, "Am I missing things? Are things like really making sense?" And I think, like you said, it's a lot of information, so probably have to give episode 2 and 3 a bit of a shot just to see if it kind of finds its footing. Because I felt like it was just so much exposition, so much data dumping that it was almost like, is this going to be just a slog to follow and like having to like piece together all this stuff, almost like doing homework every week. But Game of Thrones also felt like that at first, learning the world, learning all these
Right.
new characters, learning the connections of the family. So I think we have to give it a little more time before I can maybe make that judgment. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, so I think the key difference there would be that Game of Thrones in the early goings, when you didn't understand the map of Westeros, when you didn't understand what the various families were, you still understood the dramatic tension of the chamber drama and people
Yeah,
talking in rooms and plotting things. That all still tracked and
true.
intrigued. Foundation, again, from what I understand about this book and how it was adapted, and previously many attempts failed to even get this off the ground. It's just really hard not to crack, apparently. Is that there's just not actually a lot of conflict minute to minute because it's a story that expands like thousands of years. This show apparently is going to cover decades forward and back in this first season. So when you're that big of a scale, you still have to try and manufacture individual conflict, right? And I guess through one episode, the individual like conflict is completely foreign to us. We don't know what it's going to be, right?
Mhm.
Because they're being sent off in exile to do more research, perhaps to benefit the empire down the line. Cool. That's just an open book. We have no idea what's going to happen next, right?
Right.
So this show could completely fizzle out and not be that cool after the
Yeah.
pilot, right? So it's a lot of TBD. One of the changes that everyone seems to be celebrating, I thought was really cool, was that they changed the way these Ember characters work and the three identities, the clones, right? The young,
Mhm.
adult, and old is a new change, right? But I think it's an important way to ground uh, your conflict, ground your character dynamics as the show moves around decade wise, because you have these cloned people. That way the actors can stay the same. And of course,
Yeah.
Lee Pace is a huge highlight to have here, of course. So
Sure.
uh, it's still a lot of unknown, right? And like, but seeing the production value, at least in that first episode, has me hooked, has me intrigued, and I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess. So, but we gotta see more.
It definitely feels like the best attempt at this like large scale since Game of Thrones. Obviously, I think the one that we're all waiting for is Amazon's Game of Thrones, or not Game of Thrones. Sorry,
Lord of
yeah,
the Rings,
Lord of the Rings.
of
Lord of the
course.
Rings one, but I think that's not even till end of next year that we'll be seeing
Correct.
that. So
And I have
we got.
I have a lot of confidence in that, to be honest. So
I do too.
get yeah, getting something else is pretty cool. And then like for this, I mean, this is kind of a heat check for Apple, right? Apple
Yeah,
just dropping a bag on this shit. It's like, oh, you said this shit was unfilmable. Well, let's find out. We don't
yeah,
care. And like, I mean, they already won Best Comedy Series in their second year of operation at the Emmys with Ted Lasso. Apple TV Plus is ahead of schedule. So
yeah.
Foundation is even a modest success for them. It's probably a huge win.
Huge win.
And
So
Goyer claims that he has 80 episodes planned because there's that much book material. So if
all
it's
right.
successful enough to get that far, I mean, again, huge W.
Yeah.
But we got to see more, right? We got to see like how the tension, how the drama can work, because apparently that's a lot of new creation. So a lot of TBD.
A lot of TBD. Check out Foundation. Let us know what you think.